Just kidding.
No, you're not.
I will
No,
drink
you're
them,
not.
not at once. It looked like I was about to go super hard on that shit. No. By the way, for anybody out there that's into hard seltzers,
Don't get this.
don't get this. I don't even know if I can say the name. I don't know if that's going to cause any issues with...
Basic hard seltzer. You will never sponsor us, and we will never want your sponsor.
Yeah,
You're
because
fucking awful.
It's not good. It's not good. It's gluten-free, and they got a slash through BS, so I'm assuming that's bullshit. So no bullshit with basic, right? You see that?
Oh, yeah.
Down there at the bottom?
Gluten-free, no bullshit.
No bullshit. This is shitty. They were straight up with you. No bullshit. This isn't very good. But if you want to pay for the same amount as you could get Truly's or White Claw, going ahead and fuck with us.
By the way, you can skip the U up text. This is obviously designed for females. Skip the U up text. 312-500-6627.
How is that for females?
I'm figuring them skipping getting the U up text, you know?
I don't get it. Oh, that's like the... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been in a relationship for a long time, Johnny. I forgot about that shit. I've been in a committed relationship for so long that I forgot that, hey, you up?
You up?
My dick's hard right now. I forgot about that. That's the thing. Why would you ever call this number?
Let's do it.
I don't even trust that area code. Is that how we're starting it?
Yeah.
All right. You ready? Put it on speaker.
Paul's still going to have to do the clap sync and all that, but
He already did. He started it.
What?
Yeah, I clapped.
Dude,
I haven't went in.
where are you at?
I didn't even notice.
We're in the shit right now, man.
I didn't even notice.
We're just trying to fill up some space because we don't know what the fuck to talk about tonight.
All right. Well, you guys talk while I type this in because I'm
Welcome.
illiterate.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Talk Junkies, where tonight is going to be a very interesting night. We are guest-free this evening. We're not entirely sure what's going to happen this evening. We've floated around some ideas. We're going to call this number here on this alcoholic beverage here shortly just to see what happens
see
with
what
it.
the fuck
What a podcast.
I don't like the way you worded guest free because we really need guests because we've done the podcast solo so many times and we hang out so much that we end up just talking about the same shit all the time.
We'll hit it. We'll hit it.
Guests
different.
allow us, a new avenue of creative thought and processing and all this and
Well, shout out to Mike last
we have
week,
really,
man.
we have really
Yeah.
good solo podcasts.
Shout out to Mike.
Yeah,
but
we had a very interesting podcast last week
Love Mike
with
Anderson.
Mike. A lot of good things were said in that podcast, honestly, in my opinion. I know with the elections and everything that's going on with that, it's a little bit difficult, whichever way you swing. But he had some important information later on in the podcast, just specifically on how you're born with, either being Republican, Democrat, or Independent, or Libertarian. Like, it's just embedded in you. I think that's very interesting, which you'll find in his books, and he goes in long detail and length about that.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting.
Well, I think
everybody needs to watch the Mike Anderson podcast and also pick up his books.
One of the most
Read
interesting things he said to me is that if the population, specifically, let's just say America in this instance, if there was like 60% Democrat and 40% Republican, the future babies that were born would balance out and start being more Republican. I think,
And this is an actual study too. This has been proven.
to clarify that, though, it's not Democrat and Republican. It's got because this could happen over in China too.
Just views.
It's liberal beliefs versus conservative beliefs.
That's
Right.
a much better way to put it.
Yeah.
Yes. And about how the two have always balanced each other out over time. And that's one thing that I was talking about even outside that people don't realize is that you always need the inverse just because, man, that's just how kind of the universe works too. The balance between good and evil, all this, and you need people with opposing views to that's just it's just how the universe works.
So
man.
you think
so both sides are necessary.
So when the Big Bang happened, part of the dust molecules and particles, that was part of it.
What the fuck?
What?
I mean, just for anyone who believes in the Big Bang Theory, how could you break it down to the
A scientific
just
level?
scientifically that?
You can't even break down how people are made out of the Big Bang scientifically.
No, I
really.
know, but you see, what I'm saying is, like, I think it's just very interesting that to me it suggests that there's a creator. If it's leaning more liberal, and then all of a sudden more conservative babies are born to balance it out. To me, it's a construct. Like, that's insane.
But everything in nature is pretty balanced.
It
when you
is,
think
yeah.
about it.
It is. But to me, that on a human level, I think that's very interesting and very fascinating.
So if you look at an ecosystem that's being balanced through predators and prey and all this and biodiversity, why can't that same it's no longer biodiversity, but the same thing that happens morally and culturally, and as far as the government structure, why can't that also reflect that too? Because that's kind of our core foundation.
Because it's, I mean,
I said that weird, but
in a way, okay, so human beings are different than any other species on the face of the planet. I get what you're saying, but we're way more complex. And look at what we've created: elephants and dolphins, and they aren't doing what we're doing. So
I mean, you
think
don't know.
I don't think that that's a fair comparison.
No, but
it's not a. No,
once again,
not the
it's
same
got nothing to
comparison.
do with. Once again, it's got nothing to do with Democrat and Republican. It's
No, I know.
simply conservative versus
Right.
liberal, which means that does make sense as far as balance goes. For example, we've even brought it up before. Like when Jesse and I would go to the casino way back before this whole COVID thing existed. Like Jesse is much more conservative with the way he gambles, and I'm much more liberal with the way I gamble. We both end up losing because it's a casino and that's what happens.
Fuck yeah, you're not wrong.
But
on that.
he we'll play craps.
I lose slower.
No,
I lose slower. Johnny loses. He makes a bunch of money and then loses it all at once.
yeah. So like
I lose my money slowly over
I-
time at a casino. 'cause
Jesse
I'm more
makes a little
conservative.
bit, loses a little more than that. Makes a little bit, loses more than a little bit. I make a lot and then lose more than a lot, and then back and forth, and
Financially, I'm definitely conservative as fuck whenever
that's
it
what I'm
comes to
saying.
finance.
But that's my point, though, is with this whole study, it's not Democrat versus Republican,
Right.
and it's not even beliefs.
I misspoke when I
It's
said
a
that.
genetic. It's not even your beliefs. It's just the genetic thing of like how you. Once again, I don't think it's beliefs and what you believe in. I think it's just on
it
a
just
genetic
happens
level
naturally.
of
It's something that's just so
naturally.
natural.
But what I'm
You're
saying,
a conservative person, so you end up siding with conservative beliefs.
right? But if you were to break it down, and there's 7 billion people on the earth, and 3.5 billion are conservative, and 3.5 billion are liberal. I think that's fascinating. I think that's insane to have
yeah.
that type of balance on on that scale. It's insane.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that it's balanced and not one side is going to overtake the other.
That happens naturally too, though.
I know,
But-
but what I'm saying with humans are more complex. Look, like I said, look what we've built. Look how diverse we are. Look at the world and what we've built around us.
But the biggest problem that's in America right now, and I was even saying this in the last podcast, is how we are the most separated we've ever been. But we don't have that fundamental understanding that the other side is necessary for us too. Like, how could it's all about this balance thing, and also you have so many hard-nosed individuals that are just straight up, oh, I have everything 100% right,
So check this
which
out.
happens on both sides.
I'm going to call this number at the
So
end of the
there's-
podcast.
at the end of the podcast. Okay.
Yeah, no, that gives them something to.
Yeah, because we're already talking about something
Yeah.
that's
Way
fairly
more important.
fairly important, and that's just the general respect for other people, and to know that if you didn't have the inverse of what you believe in, what would be the purpose of even believing it anyway? You almost need the other side to even validate what you believe in.
Just like good and bad, and
Yeah, no,
right
it's
and wrong, and
like the yin and the
light and
yang.
dark.
Not to bring up, I think that's Taoism. I might be
But-
wrong, but
I agree with what you're saying, and a lot of people do. It's all about me. They're not willing to hear the other side, all that stuff, kind of like what you were describing. And then another thing that I said outside was if the media weren't in play and they weren't subjugating us to massive propaganda or brainwashing, I think that we might be in a different place with the same technology that we have now.
oh, without the media brainwashing,
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No. The media is strictly been constructed to funnel your thoughts down the road that works best for the media, to where the media can flourish and the 1% can make money. I know this sounds conspiracy
But
theory.
it always, that's the thing. Once again, it always has been. Even before that law that you talk about, even before America, man, you go back to ancient Greece. I guarantee you the media was doing the same thing. If there was someone writing newspapers in ancient Greece and their job was to sell those, the whole thing is going to be, how do we sell more of these? Write interesting fucking news. Whatever sells, not what's, do what's popular.
So let me ask you something. So like whenever there was World War I and World War II, going to the moon and like instances where it's captivated everyone, 9/11, to where we all want to come together and we all have a common goal, right?
No, it's the common goal is you need an enemy. You need an absolute inverse. So something surpasses something conservative and something liberal that goes into a threat.
All of a sudden,
to where
terrorists and
now-
Al-Qaeda hate
So
America.
terrorists then become a thing in 2001, and the next thing you know, people are able to set aside their differences and realize that, oh, these are my brethren, and then you come together and then completely work shit out.
But what I'm also saying is like,
but it takes the inverse to be placed in.
No, but I'm saying like the moon landing as well, or going to the moon and being the first person or the first country on the moon.
I mean, that was about beating Russia. Once again, an
True.
enemy.
So
There's always
see that's an enemy. You almost have to have and I don't even want to use the word enemy, even though terrorism is fucking awful. But you need the inverse.
An opposite,
you need
or an inverse.
You need the opposite or the inverse for the way that you think in order to get people together. And obviously that was a big enough one to get it done to where people could come together. I'm doing a really bad job of talking. I'm just going to start chugging these bitches.
So, and Johnny, I agree with exactly what you said. I think that there's always been some sort of influence on the mass psyche of humankind. With the amount of knowledge and how far back we can go in history, I completely agree with you on that. But I think specifically the question that I was asking is if in today's present time, media didn't have that influence. And I'm just saying, it's a fairy tale here.
If the media just presented the news and didn't tell you how to think about it,
that'll never happen.
No.
But he's saying in a
just
perfect
a hypothetical.
World, hypothetical. In a perfect world, there didn't have to be a Republican news station or a Democratic-based news station.
So
the news stations.
So what would happen if it
just
was just the news?
information.
What would happen if it was just the news?
Well, no, just the news. And would people be more willing to listen to the other side? Would people be more accepting?
No, I get what you're saying.
Each,
I have an answer. I have an
other?
answer for you.
100%.
If it was just the news, people wouldn't watch it. People don't actually care about what's going on.
I don't care about that question. I'm specifically asking, like when Jesse brought up the point of
he's basically saying, he's asking in a perfect world, right? Mm-hmm. Where the media actually just took information and then re-gave the information back in a more consolidated form to where you didn't have to be in Afghanistan to get it, but you were getting really unbiased, filtered through a Republican source or filtered through a Democratic source, whatever, and then you just got the information. Would the world be a better place?
No. You came in and you said before we I'm saying before all this happened, when you were saying that if you're like a hardcore Republican, like you're not willing to like sit there and entertain the idea of a Democrat, or you're just saying we're all about ourselves. I'm just saying, would you still need a war or going to the moon and beating another country?
Yes.
Competition helps, man.
You always have to have that inverse, that opposite. Even without, you get rid of the media completely, just pretend the media doesn't exist in your perfect world, you're still going to always have a fight, a challenge.
But would it be as prevalent as it is today with what the media has caused?
I think so. I think we're just directing it at the media right now. I'm not saying the media is a good thing by any means. I fucking hate the media. But you get rid of it and another part of our life just replaces it. We as humans are always going to have that.
No, I agree, but I think it would take longer because I think they've progressed it and it's been on a faster track than it should have been.
And I just disagree. That's my.
I mean, dude,
I hate the media. I agree with you there. But I legitimately think that if you just didn't have the media, we would still have war. We would still be at each other's throats, and everybody would still hate each other. What I go back to what I said in a previous podcast and what I told you outside. You really want to get rid of that kind of stuff? Smaller groups of people.
Yeah, and I've heard other people.
When the whole world's connected, not everybody's the same, and that's something that like it's weird to say over the air. And this has nothing to do with. I'm not getting into like race, religion, creed, sex, gender, all that stuff. I just mean as humans, whether it be that or beliefs or whatever, we're not all the same. Everybody is different, and we have similarities in small groups. We're not designed to get along with everybody. If you think you can get along with everyone on Earth, that's absurd. You're going to hate some people, and some people are going to hate you. You shouldn't, but that's how we work as humans. So at the end of the day, though, if you want a functioning country or you want a group of people who work well together, the smaller that group is, the more likely they are to succeed.
Well, I disagree slightly because, again, we all do live in echo chambers. And if we're constantly all on our phones or we're all constantly watching TV or we're subjected to all this information that's coming at us at a specific or all in the moment, I disagree that we all can't get along because, hear me out, for instance, put your phone down, don't watch TV, and just hang out with your friends. Go out.
That's a small group.
And no, I'm just saying, even if you go out to the bars and you meet people, and let's say alcohol is not involved, but you're not even going to a bar, just going to a large gathering.
That's still a small. That's still a small group. You're talking about a town. or a city.
You go to a hookah bar and
Even
you
that-
you drink some coffee and you smoke some hookah.
At Chiefs game, there's 70,000 people there, and there's
That's still a small group compared to what I'm talking about. I'm talking about 350 million people.
But either way,
I'm talking about 2 billion people on Facebook.
But when there's but when you break it down on a small example, what I'm saying specifically is, if you don't have technology involved in the aspect of cell phones or knowing anything about
then you
that
have
person,
smaller groups.
or what I'm saying is these people are projecting all this propaganda onto us. What I'm saying is, if you don't allow that into your life and you just live life the way that you want to, I don't see that there would be any issues. Yeah, you might disagree with someone, but you're not going to want to fucking punch them or belittle them or call their baby a racist or whatever you any of that
Goddamn
shit.
racist
It's
baby.
fucking racist babies,
Fucking
man.
racist baby.
No,
over
running
here.
around terrorizing the fucking
No, there was
society.
and I'm not trying to bring this. The only reason I said that was there was an Antifa or whatever, and him and this Trump supporter were going at it, and the Antifa guy called his baby a racist. He's like, man, I don't give a fuck. He's like, I don't
Well,
give
that's
a
ignorant.
That's
That's-
like, I don't give a fuck about your baby, man. Your baby's racist.
Man,
That's just people talking.
I
that's
know.
people say stupid shit in moments whenever they're fueled up and angry and shit.
But
like
I
that.
think
to
even
go
on-
back to what you were saying, Paul,
Yeah.
to answer your question, no, I agree with you. It would be better without that. But I still think that the reason is not because of the media. The reason is because of the mass communication between a lot of people. You talk all these things you said, getting rid of the media, the propaganda, getting rid of everybody being on Facebook all the time. Put down your phone, hang out with your friends, go to a Chiefs game, go do all this stuff together. You add all that, everything you just said together, it equals the same thing I said. Smaller groups of people. You're not mass connected to everybody in the world. There's no reason that you should be arguing with someone in China over your fucking phone. There's no reason that someone in Istanbul or wherever, Greenland, wherever, that you should even be in contact with them. That sounds so fucked up, but it's the truth as far as we get along as humans. Does the internet bring a lot of good things to the world? Has there been a lot solved with the ability to communicate across giant lengths? Yeah. But I still stand by what I said at the end of the day. And I'm not saying that we should do this. I'm just saying
I agree with the governing aspect of what you're talking about, as to where, and you were talking about empires that get too big, you can't control the absolute amount of diversity. No one person or small amount of fucking people should be put into power to rule those people, because that's so difficult to do. We talk about that all the time on the podcast. Now, as far as people being interconnected, I think that's a really good thing as far as the internet, to be able to understand what somebody else's life is like, because a lot of racism comes from that, because you're not able to
you're
see
right.
that,
You're right.
see how other groups that are different than you live, and then if you're not able to see that, oh shit, they're just like me, but they just look different and they speak a fucking different language. So a lot of that, like sitting down and watching Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations, where he goes across the world, and you're like, man, human beings are just fucking human beings. Just like we just speak different languages, we fucking eat different food. Why would I ever fucking hate on this person? I think it gets gets rid of a lot of that, because a lot of people get too much pride in, oh man, this is my shit. This is my hometown. I bleed whatever. Fucking that's stupid. So I think the connection and what the internet can help do, and especially just like I said, like TV shows and stuff like that, is to help you realize that everyone else around the world is basically just like you. There are some people that are evil people. This is the small minority, which you end up seeing it being blown up as though it's the majority of fucking people from somewhere, which is completely wrong. But for the most part, the internet will help with that issue, which I think is very important, is to see other cultures, and you should be experiencing other cultures.
I agree.
Because,
And I mean, I'm for that, because I'm someone who I like traveling. I've talked to you about I would love to move and go to different fucking places. Like, that's just how I grew up and what I like doing. But I still stand by the fact that at the end of the day, we have all talked about these perfect world scenarios before. When we talked about the militia, we talked about how it would be great if you and your neighbors and everyone around you had guns and you didn't have to worry about the police, and you all just protected each other and got along as a community. That's some white picket fence community bullshit that comes back to the fact that, once again, people work better together in smaller groups. Even Mike Anderson mentioned it last time when he said, or maybe it wasn't Mike, I think it was Mike. It might have been the guy before that. He talked about how we can only remember up to like 142 people or 182 people
Mike,
or whatever.
Yeah, that was Mike.
That's all we're designed to do as human beings, is have connections with 150 something odd people.
No, because it's almost a waste of
You
energy.
have
if you
800
try to go
friends
too
on
far.
fucking
But it's still-
Facebook. That's not healthy.
I don't think. I see where you're kind of going, but I think like on a massive scale, whenever you interconnect 7 billion people, or minus children is maybe 3 or 4 billion, and you're able, all these adults are communicating in the same way and have access to each other. It's definitely a beautiful thing. I agree with you. And the only reason I think it comes to a negative aspect or a negative point is whenever you have the propaganda and the brainwashed people, and then if you go and watch a pro-Trump or a pro-Biden video on YouTube, you see all the comments, and of course it's going to lean one way, either way you go. What I'm saying is I think politically that's what kind of ruins the internet, Now, if Conor McGregor's fighting Manny Pacquiao or whatever you have, like, you're still going to have that too a little bit. But
This goes right back into what we said about there's always going to be what word did you use? There's always going to be an opposite. There's always going to be an inverse.
Yeah.
You're always going to have a quote-unquote enemy.
For sure.
Right now it's politics. If you completely get rid of politics, completely get rid of all these differences, and then still have everybody connected, we as humans, because
we still do that, but it wouldn't be as
humans kinda
aggressive.
First of all,
I think it would be.
It wouldn't be
just
as
as
aggressive.
aggressive.
No way.
Don't group the idea that just because somebody is the inverse of you is your enemy. Because
No, I'm not.
That's the picture that's been painted in America. Is because
And it shouldn't be.
just somebody thinks different than you immediately, oh man, they have everything fucking wrong. If anything, your fundamental, at least at my core, is that I am open to change and that I am a flawed human being, and that we go through life trying this shit out and trying to figure it out. There was no way anything I've ever said in this podcast where I'm like, man, this is 100% right. Like, once you get that mentality and you start becoming prideful, and you're like, oh man, I have this 100% right, that's when these really bad things start happening. So I just wanted to go back and say, just because somebody thinks inversely than you does not make them your enemy.
Oh no, and it shouldn't.
Now, but that's
not
what's
what I was.
happening.
That's
in
not what I
America.
was saying.
No,
That's
I don't.
not what
I
was
just wanted
trying
to. Just from that one little thing, I just wanted to clarify that, because that's the issue in America. If somebody thinks differently than me, somebody voted differently than me, well, fuck them. I'm super prideful. I have things 100% right, and this happens on fucking both sides, and then nothing gets done, and then there's just so much hate. When really, if you get down to the core, we're all fucking babies and have families and have family members, and we just want to eat food and
That's
have our
it.
freedoms and shit.
That's
man.
it, man. That's
Like,
it.
it's
That's
not-
legitimately it.
There's a lot of other
and-
things that make human beings interesting too, but at the core of us, we are all the same. At the core of us, we are all the same. We can't forget that.
I agree 100% with both of you. Which anybody who's watching this podcast for the first time, I'm sounding like a dick right now, but they both know that we've talked about this a ton. I agree with both of you. I still stand by what I said earlier, or in different podcasts, where it's got nothing to do with that. We are all the same. I'm not saying we're fucking different. You should respect. I've always said, what's that stupid saying? The respect's earned, not given. That's bullshit. You should give everyone respect. Yeah, they can do something fucked up that takes it
Now,
away.
respect can be lost.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Respect can be lost, but that
you
whole
respect everybody.
respect is earned, not given. That's bullshit. You should show every other person that you meet in life respect. But at the end of the day, I still stand with the fact that if you have 3 people in a room, it's easier to get them to agree on something than 150 people in a room. And then 150 people in a room, it's easier to get them to agree and come up with a consensus than it is to get 3,000.
Well,
and so on and so on.
regardless,
the more
though,
people you have trying to come, for example, America, 330 million people. You will never get rid of the media, get rid of all of it. You will never get every single person to agree on gun rights or abortion rights. But you know what? You might be able to get a group of 10,000 to agree. You're not going to get 330 million. It's not going to happen. So you talk about, people are fighting in each other's necks and stuff. That's because people have very strong beliefs. And I agree with what you said. If you think you've got it 100% right, you're probably wrong. Nobody should think they have it 100% right.
Well, honestly, at that point, I mean, like, it's when you're born, then you're able to actually realize what's going on in the environment that we're in right now. And you can understand the Constitution for what it is. Again, when you're an adult and you don't agree with that, then at that point, you have every right to leave this country and not even be a citizen anymore. And I know that we've...
What does that have to... I'm not
just
talking
hold
about...
on.
Yeah.
Listen. Just listen. Hear me out for a second. Okay. Because whenever you get that age and then you realize what the Constitution is, like, that's the foundation. Like, at that point, like, gun rights doesn't even matter anymore.
This has nothing to do with America.
No,
what I'm saying is, let's go to a different country where gun rights don't matter. because you're bringing up the Constitution argument. I'm not talking about America. I'm not talking about the Constitution. I'm
Just the
talking
fact
about
that people won't agree on a large scale. I
you
get
can't
that.
get 300 million people to come to an agreement about they feel fundamentally something about abortion, for an example. You will not get 300 million people to agree on abortion.
Right, I get that.
It will not happen.
I get that, but I think it's...
I'm 99.9% sure it won't happen.
At some point, I think that those small or not small, but in our life, they could be big, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We have to get past those things as a civilization in order to progress.
Some people are going to hear you say that and be offended. They're going to think, get past abortion being a big deal. And in their life, abortion is the biggest deal. They're going to be like, that's murdering fucking children.
I get that. I get that.
That's my point. You'll never be able.
I understand that, but there has to eventually, as a society, we have to come together in order to progress, and we can't be stagnant on the same few core fundamentals of argumentation to just sit there and be stagnant as a civilization. Like
I don't think it's being stagnant. You have to argue to progress.
No.
And
But
also,
the same thing over and over again throughout centuries, it's the same shit.
But eventually, what happens is a decision's made, and then you have people who were wronged by that decision.
No, I get that. I know.
so once again, everything in life has this balance. So another thing people need to understand is also there is a negative that comes with whatever positive you think. If any, and this also comes along with the individuals who believe that they're 100% right and that there is no wrong doing within their belief, even though it's completely fucking right in their mind, somebody will be negatively influenced by your decision. No matter how morally you think you're right, you're probably fucking up somebody's fucking life. Like if you're anti-abortion, you're pro-life. Somebody out there is going to be forced to have a kid. That kid's going to grow up so horribly in some impoverished area, all these mental health fucking problems. He's going to go in, he's going to kill fucking 50 people with a fucking bomb. And then now you have to deal with that too. Like that shit's going to fucking happen. Both sides have fucking arguments. That's also one side of the pro-choice thing.
Part of that balance though that
you need to understand that your decisions in life, pretty much whenever it comes to big moral issues, always have a negative condemnation that are tied to it. Now, what we try to do, and this happens both conservative and liberal, is that you try to find what's the best positive of this. You know, as far as rational. I would say rational conservatives
Jesse,
and rational liberals.
Before you continue, let me ask you something real quick. When it comes to abortion, before technology, before the way technology is now, was abortion even a possibility?
Yes.
Right, but it was probably very sketchy, very dark, very...
Oh, man.
Dude, they've probably been doing abortions for...
I don't want to know. I'm sure...
You know what I'm saying,
for
though?
a long
what they probably just ended
time.
up just doing was killing the mother that was bearing the child if they didn't want the child
Or
to
kill
live.
the kid afterwards.
Or just, they Spartaned that motherfucker, punted him off a fucking
But I'm saying
side of a
if
cliff.
two rational people...
I don't know if it's historically accurate. I'm just quoting 300.
If two people who were rational back in like the 1700s didn't want to have a kid, there wasn't an option to go to the doctor and just get it to go away.
Pull-out game better be strong. 1700s, man.
No, but
you know what I'm saying?
It's the
Better
same
be
equivalent.
strong.
You know what they would do? They just have the kid and then fucking kill the kid or dump the kid off.
We don't.
You're right.
I don't know. I don't
There's
know.
always...
That's some dark shit that I would hate to try to immerse myself and learn historically, because that would just make me just depressed as fuck looking that shit up. But I just
didn't
It
know,
wouldn't
since
surprise me.
technology's kind
They've
of
done
played
some fucked up shit.
technology's kind of played a way into our morals, is what I'm trying to say. Not the fact that isn't
Oh
possible.
no, absolutely.
What you just said.
Everything influences. So it's force coupled is what it's called. So things come in that so technology is here, and then you have morality. Whenever one advances in a certain direction, immediately influences the other one, and then they become force coupled, and then they advance extremely quickly. And this is what you see throughout shit. This is why we're progressing so much as human beings. We can learn. Like, people weren't learning other people's foreign fucking languages fucking 50 years ago. We can do that shit now.
The better
or 100 years
technology
ago.
gets, the more you can learn other
so
people's
it's-
languages.
yeah,
The more you can learn other people's languages, the more that you can work with people of a different language to improve technology.
Exactly. So it's this force couple thing, and also morality tags along with this too. But that's So that's that. I don't know if I directly answered your question. or
No,
not.
you did. I just was curious that, again, technology has a lot to play within our morality. What I'm saying is to go back
Not
to
to
abortion.
play with our morality, but it definitely I don't.
It influences our morality, but our morality also influences it. That's the whole. It goes.
True, but what I'm saying is when it comes to progression of civilization, and then you guys bring up the point that there are morals that are embedded in us that are a big deal to a lot of people, and how do we get past those things as opposed to fight about it for the next 100 years? I mean, like, those are things we have to think about. Those aren't things that we can just put on the wayside and say, hey, like, we're never going to find the answer to what is pro-life or what isn't pro-choice. You know, like, we have to come to a common ground and progress.
There's not going to be a common ground.
Eventually, we have to.
The common ground is the libertarian common ground.
Let everybody do whatever the fuck they want.
So,
right.
This is my common ground, which, once again, this is me thinking that I'm right. And I have to realize that that's probably not the fucking case. But my mentality is that if your morals dictate that you shouldn't do something, well, you don't do it. You should not influence somebody else, whether or not they do it, as long as they're not harming someone else directly.
But then you get to abortion, they'd be like, that is harming someone else.
Exactly. The abortion's always been the weird one.
That's the grayest one out of all.
No,
of them.
I've always said that on this podcast.
So,
because owning a gun doesn't harm anyone else. If you decide to shoot someone, it does. But owning a gun.
So me as a libertarian, I want you to be able to go out and marry whoever you want. 100%. I want you to be able to, if you want to do whatever drug you want to do, I don't think you should be put behind bars for that. I think that there's a lot of help that these people need because there's a lot of, not to go down that. And I also believe that you should own a gun if you want. I believe in the absolute freedom of the individual. And that comes on, I can't just hold freedoms for this side and then go, oh, you can't get freedoms here. I believe freedoms for all individuals. But the abortion one is the biggest gray area moral issue that I think we'll ever have to deal with.
And we all get that. So question, though.
Up until aliens show up.
Yes.
And we got to deal with how we interact with the motherfucking aliens.
So and that's beautiful, and I think. What do you think a life would be like if that were the case here in the United States or in the world?
What were the case?
Like if we went true libertarian and people.
I think it'd be great.
But do you
I think it'd be great. I'm a libertarian, but everybody wants their side to win. My side will never win.
For sure. But what I'm saying is, within the conversation that we're having, do you think we progress as a civilization if that's the route that we chose?
I do, but I'm biased because I'm
not asking if you're biased or not. I'm saying.
No, obviously I do, because I would ask everybody out there on the other side of the camera, put in the comments right now, if you were allowed to do anything that you wanted to do, anything you want to do in the world, but you can't harm another individual, it can't adversely affect someone else, does that sound like a good idea? And if you say yes, then that's what being libertarian is, because everybody else can do that too. Whoever's down the street, Mark, if he wants to marry his fucking boyfriend, Bill, whatever, if Mark and Bill want to get married, that
Fuck
doesn't...
Mark. Sorry. Mark's a pussy.
Mark, that's from...
Jesus Christ. It's inside joke. Fuck.
All right.
My bad.
You're ruining it. All right.
I did.
Mark and Bill want to get fucking married or whatever. That doesn't affect you at all. Even if you disagree with it, it doesn't affect you. You're still allowed to do everything that you want to do. Just like they can do everything they want to do, as long as they don't affect you. But if all of a sudden you answer the first part of the question is, yeah, I want to be able to do everything I want as long as I don't hurt anybody else. But then when you're like, oh man, them getting married, no, I don't like that. That's you hurting someone else's decision. So you lied basically.
So again, though, it would progress civilization, and we could finally progress as opposed to just.
I think so, but I could be wrong. That's the whole point. I could be wrong.
Fucking wind circle of a vacuum of ever constant hating each other and never getting along.
You're just talking about life, bro.
Okay. So I feel like I need to establish this. This is actually a thought that, or I fucking read it somewhere. It was a natural thought. I don't know. I was fucking stoned. That legality and morality have nothing to do with each other. I'm going to say that again. Legality and law have nothing to do with morality whatsoever. It was illegal at one point in time, or it was legal to own a slave back in the day. I'm pretty sure everybody fucking agrees that that's some fucked up morals. So legality, and there's plenty of examples through this without time about how legality and morality don't necessarily go hand in hand, and we need to realize that first off. So my thing, and this is why I stay true to considering myself a libertarian, is you give everybody the freedom as long as they're not harming another individual, and then if you have a problem with it, you can always come in and talk to them about it in a reasonable fucking manner, as opposed to just making it illegal, because they're not. I'm doing a horrible fucking job of this. But they're not intertwined, and everybody thinks anybody who thinks that they are, it's really not. I
do you
know a
think-
lot of religious communities, conservative Christians would completely disagree that they are completely intertwined. But there is a much more data on that morality and
No,
legality.
the law
are
has
completely
the law
separate.
has nothing to do with.
So I
morals.
just wanted to say
like
that.
you said, there's the slave
I
thing.
should have went off on more of a rant with that because I feel like that goes down my alley. But
No, it'll
yeah,
it'll forever. No, that will forever change. So you've got like you said, the slave thing. It is not moral to own a slave, but it was legal back in the day, even though it is an immoral thing according to 99%
now
of fucking
you have to
people.
ask yourself,
But the
as-
same thing with gay marriage, right? Gay
Yeah.
marriage was illegal in some states, but
and then morally, we're realizing that, man, these are oppressed people, and we shouldn't oppress these people. They should have the rights just like everybody else, and have their freedom too, to be able to live their life how they want.
That's my thing. Is so everything progresses as we go, Paul. So to answer your question from like 10 minutes ago about what can we do to get out of this tribalism, this all of us hating each other all the time, just like the stupid cliche, time heals all wounds. Time, man, we have to progress. That's all it takes is us progressing as individuals. But there's nothing you can really do to fucking speed that up or slow down on a massive scale. It's just
to me when you say that, what I think in my head is that there is an overarching force that is trying to hinder that, and they're trying to stop that from happening.
we haven't been stopping that though. We're
No.
still doing it.
I think that there is a force that is trying to stop us from progressing, and it's going to take us even longer to get to the next level that we
We've
want to
been
get to.
progressing faster and faster than we ever have in the past.
I
We've
mean,
been progressing at exponential rates due to technology.
I mean, anyone can
Technologically, but
But
and this-
technology
hold on,
is
hold
linked
on,
to
hold on.
everything
this is
else.
the issue that
No,
fucking Elon Musk talked about.
I disagree because, man, look at the pyramids. You look at a lot of ancient structures, man. They were fucking cutting 90-ton blocks or massive ton blocks. We had Brian Forster on the show.
Took them a lot longer too.
We don't know that.
We don't.
That's
man,
what
now
historians.
you're getting just into
But dude,
some.
I'm not. What I'm saying is we can't do what they did, and even if it took time,
You
we're
don't
still
think
not
we
even
could
trying.
build the pyramids today?
Absolutely not.
You don't think we could build the pyramids today?
I mean, why have we not?
Why
the
would
whole-
we?
well,
They don't serve a purpose.
What
They're
I'm
a
saying-
big block of stone.
You can't use technology. Is what I'm saying. Is that
It
we're
would
advancing?
be the whole point of the pyramids, just to clarify this, and I hope I'm clarifying this, is that it would be a huge undertaking for us with the level of tech that we have right now. So how the fuck did the motherfuckers who didn't have computers and fucking not shit make laser precise cuts? That's the whole thing with that. We
So-
could definitely fucking build the pyramids right now. It would be a massive fucking
I
undertaking.
don't think it would be
though.
that massive of an
What-
undertaking.
what-
Have you seen how a skyscraper's put together? A pyramid would be easier to put together than a skyscraper.
They've built skyscrapers like 300 years ago.
That's
in Tibet.
exactly, and I still stand by what I say. A pyramid would be easier to put together than a fucking skyscraper.
But you understand why it's one of the seven wonders of the world, because
Yes,
with
yes.
the
Hold on.
given technology, they should not have been able to do that.
What I'm saying,
get
Johnny,
that. I get that.
you
You're going off on a weird thing right
you
now.
specifically said, look at how technology is advanced and how it's currently getting faster and faster.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is, back in the past, and this is just my opinion, I think that there used to be ancient technology that was amazing. So I think we've been there before. That's just my opinion. What I'm saying is there's an overarching force that is hindering us from progressing as a civilization. That's just my opinion. And in my opinion, it is clearly, if you turn your television on, that is that overarching force. Not everyone's subjected to it, but when you do enter society and you're around these people, in a way you are. But if you turn your TV on, it is hindering how we progress
Absolutely.
as a civilization.
Okay, because once again, we are middle class, so we look at society as all of us. Whenever we talk about society on the podcast, we talk about even the 1%, the richest person on the planet, all the way down to the poorest, most impoverished people, is what we talk about. And society, as of right now, and this is clear through data, really the middle and especially the poor third world countries aren't progressing. Who's really progressing and gaining power is the 1%, which should be the most talked about thing. But
and we talk about it a lot.
we do talk about it a lot, but you talk about coronavirus and everything. That's the big one. That's the big one for me. I'm not segueing well tonight.
And how is that not hindering civilization progressing when you have
So going back to this. So the 1% only see them. It's just about them, and then everybody else is just kind of stepping stones. They have to be a little bit of some kind of pathy that they fucking have in their mind to not care about everybody else in the world and how they're interconnected to be able to do what they do.
they're the Pharos of our time.
But whenever they talk about the USA, they're really only talking about the 1%. is what it is and what's best for them. But they need to string us along because we pay for everything and we make sure that everything works for them. That's a weird transition. I didn't want to get into the 1%.
No.
Let me say something real quick about the progression thing. And I'll try to ignore the technology aspect of it. And I agree with you about the TV and all that shit. I don't think TV and media, I've said that before. You know I don't think any of the media is good. You know I don't fucking like social media. I think it's all bad. But I don't think there's any evidence to say that we're progressing slower. I think that, like, oh man, I'm like losing my train of thought right now. I think we're progressing, and I'm not just talking about technology. I mean us as humans. I think that we have such short attention span these days that you feel like we're not progressing or something's hindering us. We have progressed more in our lifetime than any civilization before us. And I'm going to avoid, there is the technology aspect going from fucking CDs to DVDs to Blu-rays to whatever. Same thing with like going from cassettes to CDs to MP3s. But
VHSs were a thing.
Yes, VHSs were a thing. But let's get rid of let's get rid of the technology side. Let's just talk about human progression. All right? We have progressed. We have went from whenever we were born, gay marriage was illegal. All of a sudden, gay marriage is legal now. Now, all of a sudden, there's like trans bathrooms and stuff. That's become a thing now. There's tons of stuff. We're progressing fast as a society in the roughly 30 average years that we've all been alive. As compared to like how long did it take to get rid of slavery? There were generations of slaves. We've gotten rid of something that we didn't even know about, and then instantly got rid of something else right afterwards.
I know you say it very nicely and very perfectly, but I still think that we're slaves in the moment right now.
Oh, yeah, to like capitalism and a whole bunch of other stuff and credit card companies and what else. I still think that as a society, we're right. Progressing.
I agree with that.
I think we're progressing as fast as we can fucking progress.
In that aspect, I completely agree with you with women getting more rights and into the workforce, and I completely agree with all of that in today's time. Yeah, I would.
I think
agree.
We're progressing faster now
in that aspect,
than
I agree.
humans ever have in the past.
I think in the history that we're told in the history books, I completely agree with you, yes.
Okay. Just so we're on the same, I just wanted to clarify that. When you say there's an overarching force stopping us from progressing or halting our progress, slowing our progress, maybe there is, but even if it's slowing us down, we're already progressing. Once again, I'm going to use the word exponential. We progress on an exponential scale, just like technology progresses on an exponential scale. The amount that we progress as a culture this year in 2020 is a bad example because of COVID. Pretend it's a normal fucking year. The amount that we progressed as a culture in 2005 is less than the amount we progressed in 2006, which was less than the amount we progressed in 2007. We will constantly progress faster and faster.
But, I mean, again, when you have Pharos or the 1% that are in control of it, I think that hinders it as well.
It does hinder it, but it's still getting faster than it ever has been before.
For sure. They're going to let it go as fast as they want it to.
Going back to what Jesse said about you can't think you're 100% right, that applies to all of us, too. As much as I hate the fucking 1%, think about the amount that they add to progression as well. Think about stuff like Jeff Bezos and Amazon.
But
I fucking hate him.
It's what they want, though.
It is what they want. It benefits
deciders.
them. But it still helps progress. The shit that you can do with Amazon these days, fucking crazy. That is progress. And that's progress for humans. Bill Gates and Al Gore and all them doing the internet thing. Having the internet be created. That's progress for all of humanity. Even if they're part of the 1% and we fucking hate them for it.
Yeah. No, this is some deep shit, man. I was just curious. And I obviously, like, a big thing for me, like, growing up was I've always had this fascination with just, like, traveling to another planet and going to another planet and just meeting other worldly beings from a different place. Like, I've always had that as a fascination. And when I first got into YouTube, man, like, I was really big into the alien scene and trying to find anomalies and UFOs, and that's how I got onto Crow with, the lunar wave, which we're not going to go down that road. But what I'm saying is, like, I'm just fascinated with the progression of civilization. And to me, I just think it's an underrated topic that's really not talked about that much. Maybe because of what you've kind of talked about, because it doesn't need to be, because it's just slowly happening.
It's kind of just in with everything else, because you're just talking change and anything you talk about.
That's the best way to put it.
Relevance
I think that the
change.
changes that have taken place, though, in our time during life, in the 30 years that I've been alive, there have been more changes in humanity than the 30 years prior.
Right. I don't know. And to me, like, I agree with everything that you're saying, but I think, like, what's happening right now in the moment in 2020, and I know you said that it's a bad year and a bad example, and maybe that's just what it is. It's just this year in its entirety is just a really
shit
bad
year, bro.
Yeah, and to me, I think that there are forces, well, like I said, I think they are the forces that are creating 2020, and that's what's hindering us. I mean, like, think about hindrances.
But even then, you're looking such small scale because a year is nothing. A year is fucking nothing.
But what happens if it turns into 2 years? And I know no
2
one
years
knows.
is nothing.
And even then, but 2 years you're right. It means nothing. But on a small scale, on a civilization as small as we are compared to the universe, I think that 2 years in our own aspect is.
I think 2 years is nothing in our civilization. I think 10 years is nothing in our civilization.
2 years could be everything. You never know. Could be if you waited 2 years and then the sun's going to blow up and then hit the earth, and if you would have just done it 2 years earlier. Because you took a break for COVID? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Yeah, but what you're saying about our planet being so small in the universe and all that, we know that the sun's not blowing up fucking tomorrow anyways.
Well, no one has the answer to that question.
I know, but exactly, right? So it doesn't fucking matter.
That's true.
What do you mean no one's answered that question? Whether or not
no one knows when the sun's going to blow up, man. No one knows that.
We know it's not blowing up tomorrow.
We have pretty good data on that.
No, Jesse, we've never been to the sun. We've never been inside the sun.
I don't want to get back to this, Paul.
I'm not even trying to go down that road.
We have technology that
our technology has no idea when the sun is going to blow up. I'm sorry. They have no idea.
That's just what you choose to believe. Yeah. We don't know when it's going to blow up. We can probably reasonably figure out, though, that it's not going to blow up tomorrow.
No. I agree with that.
That's all that matters.
Very interesting shit, man. Very interesting shit. So let's hit something else.
The fact that you're on Google right now scares the shit out of me because I really hope you're recording.
Yeah. Bro,
okay.
I got Audacity going, bro.
Okay. It scares me. It scares me. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, don't you worry, man. Everyone's going to be a part of everyone already has been a part of, the first lockdowns that happened and shit like that. You have New York still under some intense and people still have to eat outside, but they still have they just reinstated the 10 p.m. curfews, I believe. You still got food lines, that wrap miles, half a mile, whatever.
If it's like this 3 years from now, I'll be like something is wrong. Something is obviously wrong.
I just want to get your guys' take on this because this is in California, okay? And Governor Gavin Newsom or whatever his name is, this is what he came out with his mandates in California for holidays and Thanksgiving. So gatherings that include more than 3 households are prohibited. So if you have a big family, that's not going to happen. You can't do it. This includes hosts or guests. Remember, the smaller the number of people, the safer. I just want to.
You said this is in California.
This is in California.
Fuck.
Gatherings that occur outdoors are.
Wish it was in Missouri. I don't want to hang out with my family.
Gatherings that occur outdoors are significantly safer than indoor gatherings. All gatherings must be held outside. Attendees must go inside to use restrooms as long as the restrooms are frequently sanitized. A gathering no more than 3 households is permitted. No more
than 3 households?
Yeah. Well, so like if you have a family, you can't have more than.
3 families.
Yeah, 3 families, yeah. Shit, man. I saw some really weird restrictions in here earlier. I'm trying to find them.
Dude, I'll be honest, Paul. This just looks like
this is the version.
This is the version of corporate mumbo jumbo. It's the same thing you're gonna get working for a company. Corporate's always gonna have something higher.
This is a state over millions of people, though, man. It's insane.
Once again, and we're not all gonna agree, right? Some people are 100%. Everything you're reading off
bro,
right now.
I'm just telling you, man. I'm just telling you what they are, bro.
The big thing is if they start actually punishing and arresting people for it.
Yeah.
If people still do it, you cannot enforce any kind of law. But
this is a mandate, bro. And I know that's not law.
We'll see if people get arrested for it.
So when gathering, when you're outside, face coverings must be worn in accordance. People at the gatherings may remove their face coverings briefly to eat or drink as long as they stay at least 6 feet away. Face coverings can also be removed to meet urgent medical needs. Gatherings should be 2 hours or less. The longer the duration, the risk of transmissions increases. Rules for singing, chanting, and shouting at outdoor gatherings. Singing, chanting, shouting, and physical exertion significantly increase the risk of COVID-19 transmission.
Who the fuck goes that hard on Thanksgiving?
All people who are singing or chanting should wear a face covering at all times while singing or chanting, including anyone who is leading a song or chant. People who are singing, shouting, and exercise strongly encouraged to maintain physical distance beyond 6 feet to further reduce the risk. Like, bro, this is insane.
What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? The yearly tradition is we go outside and we get the wishbone and we scream open-mouthed into each other's faces. Every Thanksgiving with my family, it's going to ruin a tradition, man. We just scream as loud as we can, open mouth, real close.
Right in each other's.
Almost like how Tom Brady does his dad after a Super Bowl win. But
just a little.
just almost close enough to be Tom Brady with his dad. Just breathe and man, that's gonna ruin a family tradition.
Paul, that's
God damn it.
Two things. One, that's just like, once again, corporate mumbo jumbo. They have to cover their bases, kind of thing. Also, you're talking about the state of California, which has the most stringent laws of any fucking state when it comes to that kind of shit.
No, I know, but you have Chicago who just came out, or Illinois came out, and in Chicago, the mayor or governor,
Let's call it
Illinois, sorry, Larry Lightfoot or whatever her name is, I don't know. She's saying that as of tomorrow that they're going on lockdown again, and
what if you're wrong?
No, she specifically came out.
No, not that.
What
if you're wrong about COVID? What if them going on lockdown is the best thing that could happen?
Well, I mean, so again, if we're going to go based off science here, or at least go off the data, in that there's a 99.96% survival rate. So I'm just going off of that specifically.
By the way, I'm playing devil's advocate. I agree with you.
I know you are. So that's just for anyone who says it. I see where you're going, but that's what I'm going off of. And Joe Biden, his advisors have already came out with articles saying that they would like to do a 4 to 6 week mandatory lockdown in the United States. Whenever he comes in,
isn't the vaccine coming out real soon anyway? Aren't they already talking
6
about
months?
that?
What I'm saying is 4 to 6 week lockdown, man. And then you already have states coming out saying that they wouldn't do it. South Dakota, which is Republican, but then you have Mississippi, I think, which is the Democratic governor said that they wouldn't follow those rules either. So it's just nice to see that there are states coming out and saying if they try and do a nationwide lockdown, that states would be like, no.
I'm so over the COVID stuff.
Dude, me too.
Yeah.
I'm
man.
sorry, Paul.
That's literally what I was thinking
no.
like halfway through that.
Like
I don't
even
give
you
a
reading
shit,
that off,
man.
like it's just not a big deal to me. It doesn't fucking matter. The moment that someone tries to arrest me or tries to arrest someone else, fight for their fucking rights. Fight for your own rights. Fight for everything. But other than that, I'm so sick of hearing about fucking COVID. I don't give a shit. I'm just going to live my goddamn life.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what I was trying to get at, man. With all these things that are happening, like that's what needs to happen. Is people just need to go out but again, the United
People need
States
to
is
go out and scream in each other's open mouths.
right. They've been infiltrated,
that.
and like,
Don't do
dude,
that.
like as much as like I want it and you want it and Jesse want, like, dude, I refused. I the only reason I hear this shit is through YouTube videos that I watch, and I'm slowly trying to stop doing that as well. But a lot of people can't do that, man. And I know that we can't force those people to think a certain way, and we're going to continue to live our lives the way what we want to. But unfortunately, this shit is here to stay, man. As much as we want it to go away, even when a vaccine gets here, what is that even going to do?
But what I'm saying is, what if, and once again, devil's advocate here, what if you're wrong? What if our whole country, our entire country, goes into an even stricter lockdown than we ever have before? It is straight up, hey, you're going to order everything from Amazon. You're going to be a slave to your fucking credit card, where the government's going to give you money. Nobody's going to fucking work. You're not going out to restaurants. You're all on lockdown for 3 to 6 fucking months. You can't leave your fucking house, blah, blah, blah. And we're all like, you're taking away our freedoms. And then what if, though, after 3 months, 6 months later, COVID's gone? I know that doesn't work. I'm talking about a hypothetical here. Now you're talking about this trade-off between security and freedom, which is the same debate we had during 2001 after the fucking 9/11 and with the Patriot Act and all this kind of stuff. And it's what we talk about all the time for our government: security versus freedom and all this stuff. And I don't have the answer, and I don't think any of the three of us do have an answer.
Well,
for anything like
you
that.
said the answer. Just go about living your life, and just.
But then what if we're in the wrong? What if we're in the wrong, and that causes this to stay around even longer?
I mean, when you look at the Patriot Act and look how much freedoms we lost, and what if we're wrong about that and the Patriot Act is good? Like you said, playing devil's advocate.
We can't know.
Like, I mean, I think we're, damn, I've thought about that, man. A lot of times I'm like, what if what I'm thinking is completely wrong and I just need to go along with the status quo and with what everyone else is thinking? Maybe I just need to jump ship and just fucking forget about all of this shit and just go with whatever the government says. But
then that's bad too, right? Because now all of a sudden we're all sheep. And you don't want to be that.
Right.
No, it's difficult.
There's no winning is what I'm getting at.
Just like with anything else. But
I guess.
But the problem is, I get where the conservatives are coming from as far as, man, you give the government an inch,
They'll take a mile.
They'll take a fucking mile. Which they have done.
Yes.
In the Bush administration, what you were saying about.
And this
the
could be the
Patriot
same
Act.
thing. What did you say a while back, Jesse, about if we do this now, just wait for 10 years from now when we have a mild fucking flu virus go around, and they're going to be like, all right, everybody, time to mask up again. The new normal.
Can't leave
You
your house.
give them an inch, they'll take a mile. That's what'll happen in the future. And it's a shitty world that we don't want to live in. But guess what? Us as humans, I hate to say this, myself included, we're really shitty at defending our freedoms because everything happened with Snowden, us figuring about the NSA spying on us and listening through our phones and shit. We all still use Google. We all still use our phones. Nobody's fucking rioting at the fucking White House. Nobody's burning shit down.
Oh, they're still doing that shit.
There's
they're
no
still looking at you jerk off through your fucking webcam.
Exactly. We moved on. We were like, okay, sure, take our fucking freedoms away. Spy on us. We don't give a shit. We moved on, and now we're on this COVID thing. And I hate to say it, we're fucking pussies as humans, and we're going to move on in the future, too, and be okay with the COVID shit.
You're right, man.
Goes back to what I said, burn everything down, re-fucking start.
No, that's...
At some point, that's going to happen naturally anyway.
Yeah. You're completely right, man.
That'll just happen naturally.
And I think that's the best way to say it. Whenever it comes down to everything that within that just 5 to 10 minute segment, I think that you're completely right. That's the best way to put it. That's the only way to put it. When people in any YouTube channel right now that I listen to, like, they never put it that way. You know, like, you've been okay with this, and that, but all of a sudden now you're butthurt. Like, you've had
10 years, we'll be okay with. We'll remember COVID, obviously. But it'll be the same kind of thing where it's just the new fucking normal, and we'll have something else to complain about. And we won't go back and look at the people who were fighting during COVID or were fighting during the whole Snowden NSA thing.
Right,
or were fighting through the Patriot
Unless,
Act.
like what Jesse said, I mean, and this is what a lot of people believe, or some people, not a lot, but they see that eventually there will be a breaking point and there will be some sort of civil war.
All hierarchies work this way.
But
so eventually the government will get too ballsy, and they'll take too much, and they'll piss off the wrong people.
But they're getting really good at doing it a little bit at a time.
Check this out, though. I think
it doesn't matter.
It was in Europe,
dude. Everything in the universe is balanced. I believe in this.
No, there was.
I guess what I'm saying is I'm ready for it. I'm ready for I'm ready for the tipping point.
In Europe, and I can't remember which states it was in Europe, but it was like France and some other places. They're like, we're going to do the lockdowns again because COVID's starting to rise. And there was like tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of people who went out and protest and said, "Fuck no."
But was there beef and vendetta shit? Did the parliament fucking blow up?
Oh, I have no idea.
Did people die?
Maybe. I just know there was
people did like tons of governors and fucking judges.
No,
and
you're right.
No, then nothing's gonna change.
Right.
Then nothing's gonna change. And I hate to be the one to say that, and it's probably not even good to say on fucking YouTube. Gonna be put on some kind of list or some shit. But we talk about all these problems. Yeah, click that. We talk about all these problems all the time, and we try to work around solutions and say nonviolence and all these different things. And I'm not promoting. Man, I can't even say this on YouTube because it's so bad.
Don't fucking say it. Just move on.
No, I'm not.
Don't say it.
Yeah, I'm not promoting violence.
I've said some fucked up shit on this podcast before too.
Yeah,
in the heated moments.
I'm not promoting.
Be
violence.
better than me, man. Be better than me. Don't promote it.
I'm not. But I will say that the only way stuff changes, it's gonna have to drastically fucking change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, man.
It's the flip on it's the flip on the hierarchy, and nothing ever big happens without a little bit of bloodshed, right?
Exactly. And until then, we can all, and I don't mean the three of us. I mean all of us.
I'm not trying to fuel some shit here. That's just how naturally things work. Eventually,
I guess that's what I'm getting at too. I'm not saying for anybody to actually go out and fucking do anything.
Eventually, things will fucking don't just stay at home, be polite, love each other, smoke weed, fucking
every day.
Yeah, every day. No, love each other, be kind to each other first and foremost. But the trend of humanity is that in order for change to happen, there is two sides that will eventually be so fueled that one undermines the other, and sadly, it takes some human death for that to happen. That's just a historical
I wish we could
fact.
move past that. I wish we could all come together and agree on stuff.
Yeah.
But once again,
it's
easier for 3 people to agree on something than it is for 330 million.
Yeah, that's where you and I will disagree. And if you listen to the first fucking
Wait, you disagree there?
No, I'm saying I think the media plays a big role, and I think if they were not here, that's where I disagree with you. You think that it would still continue. I think it would be a lot less, and it wouldn't be as much. I think we could.
And that's fair. I can't say either way.
Yeah.
I disagree, but I can't say why. I don't have a good reason.
Yeah.
Other than I think something else would take its place.
Right.
And then you have the human variable. The human variable, which is corruptible and mistaken, that doesn't get things right, and their morality's off, and never 100%, because morality is a weird perception of how we view things. And you'll always have the issue. I always talk about it. I'm
think,
beating a dead horse. Anybody who's watched 2 fucking podcasts of ours before this one knows how I feel about the hierarchy and this never-ending cycle of how things work within humanity.
One thing I didn't realize about the hierarchy, and then just what I don't know why, but it makes complete sense, and I already said it today, is just that the top 1% are the pharaohs of our generation. I think that's absolutely crazy.
No, it's so frustrating because the whole thing that we got away from naturally was
a monarchy.
From a monarchy,
yeah.
Which was, because you're born into a family, you shouldn't be able to rule my fucking life. So fuck you, I'm going to go do my own thing, and I'm going to create my own thing, which was beautiful, capitalistic. Now what do we have? The exact same thing. It's just not called a fucking monarchy anymore.
But it still is.
It's the exact same thing. You're born into a wealthy family. You get all the fucking power. You're the only, you have,
Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk.
You do have some people who work their way up.
There are very few. And I really like how Joe Biden, the vice president, I'm forgetting her name right now. This sounds so bad.
Harris,
I just don't care enough about any presidency that's happened in my lifetime at all, to be honest with you. Because that's not the real problem, is not presidencies, but it's the underlining fabric that literally makes up our system. But no, so you have heard this, you can, you're a girl, you can become, you're a girl of color, you can now be in a position of power, and she might run for president, she might win. She is still being influenced. You don't think if that 1%, all these people running those corporations didn't want her in there, or the DNC did not want her in here? And by the way, the DNC is probably,
they're creaming themselves.
Just slightly heavily influenced by maybe people with money. I don't know, to allow you to run. Everything is ran from people with money, and that is as much as a monarchy as you can get to without fucking calling it a fucking monarchy.
Well,
so
I
it's
think
the same shit.
The craziest shit about
that's also capitalism.
But also, you can't become dismal. Capitalism did create that, and we got away from capitalism, and it's no longer.
What's crazy?
We're no longer a capitalist nation. But that sounds really dismal. You cannot be fucking dismal on that shit because it's out of your control. You're in control of yourself, and I feel like I almost need to balance it out. Is to realize that you are your own worst enemy. You are the one thing that you control in this fucking world. So be the best version of yourself. And go out there and be kind to people, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. Show love to people. Be kind. Hear other people. Have fun. Laugh with people. Don't get too hard-nosed about things. Be polite. Hold doors. Put back shopping carts. Basic shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can continue.
No,
I had to balance it out with some positive.
And I'm not trying to get any recognition for this. It's just a fucking simple thing that happened. Just to describe what you just said. I went to Quick Trip. And I went in to go just grab some beer or whatever, and got off work, and this young girl opened the door for me. I was like, "Thank you very much." Went, got my beer. She was right in line behind me. All she had was a Diet Coke. I was like,
"So
hey.
you let her in front of you, yeah?"
No, I just said, "Hey, let me get your Diet Coke. I want to buy it for you." And she says, "Oh, thank you. Why'd you do that?" I said, "Because you opened the door for me."
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's I don't know. That's just what you just. I'm not saying do that, but that's just an example. When you said that, that's what came to my head. Was an example of that.
And the fundamental idea, and I don't understand how more people don't realize this, is that we're all in this together.
Right.
Is that was your mentality at the time? We're all in this together, and if you help other people, that's the only way that you could ever be helped yourself. Is to help other people first. Put that energy, that helpful energy out there, that loving energy out there. Then you'll get loving energy back. You have to give it first. This is my opinion, almost like my sense of spirituality as far as interconnection with everybody else in the world, is that if you want something, if you want to be liked and you want people to be friends with you, well, like other people and fucking be friends with them. And then it'll come back to you. It literally works on every fucking level. Like that's just my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt.
For sure.
I'm not too wise, so.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think we had a solid.
Maybe I'll write a book. I don't know.
I think we ended on that note, man. I mean, we hit a lot of good points tonight, and I think that, we're getting close to the end of the hour, but
he's gonna call the number, bro. I'm not having him not.
I was gonna
call
say,
the number.
definitely.
I'm not having him not call the number.
Call the number, yeah.
For the people that they probably just skipped through to see if we fucking did.
Joke's on you. If you skip to right now when I'm calling it, you should go back because I called about 20 minutes ago.
Oh, shit. That'd be a smart move to maybe get our shit up. This one says different, though. I know I'm ruining, like, your outro.
No, you're fine. You're right. He needs to call the number.
So this one says, don't text your ex. Hit us up instead. Dude, I'm almost...
Dude, these are definitely, these are meant for girls. These are definitely meant for girls to drink.
So you think it's like a dude's number on there, or is it like an actual...
This is probably going to be a weak ass into the podcast when we play it over the speaker.
No, it's probably just going to be some bullshit.
312-500-6627. I'm assuming that's the same number on this one. Yeah. All right. All right, guys. This is... We brought you up here, and we really like to just...
You got to hold the phone up to your mic, though.
I'm going to go
with
soft
speaker.
dick right now. Oh, is there going to be a person that comes on?
Make sure you're not a robot.
I'm going to get so many fucking phone calls now.
Probably.
Oh, they went out of business.
Oh, they're out of business.
No, they didn't actually go out of business. Just said, we'll reply as soon as we can. I don't
Probably
fucking
just
know.
late.
Bullshit.
Once-
I shouldn't
honestly-
have fucking called
honestly-
that from my phone. I'm going to get so many bullshit fucking calls now.
I will say this. With the company Basic Hard Seltzer, their beverage is just as disappointing as the phone number that they tell you to call.
Yeah.
So if that tells you anything...
No, it literally, what did it say? We're sorry.
We're sorry. This is shitty. Like, we don't know what we're doing here. I know. Should probably refund you your money, but you've already drank half of them, so... Because you called the number. You don't just drink half one and then call the number.
I think what Jesse's saying is don't get basic fucking seltzers, man.
Don't get basic seltzers. Anyway, what an interesting podcast.
Very, very interesting. We were supposed to have a very special podcast next week, but that's going to be postponed till at least the 1st of January. So we're gonna hold on for that. I'm working very diligently each and every day to try and find guests to come on the podcast. I won't stop trying to do that. I want to thank Cutter Calloway for coming on again. A couple weeks ago, you were awesome new guest, man. Appreciate all our guests that we've had on here on Talk Junkies, and we got some good things in the works as always, and I'll keep continuing to try to get those guests, like I just said. But the best thing that you can do for Talk Junkies, man, we don't have a Patreon, we don't have any of that stuff, man. We're just doing this because we enjoy it, and we enjoy spreading our message. That I mean, not that it means anything, but we like spreading our message every once in a while when there's not a guest on.
Spread your knowledge.
But most importantly, spreading the knowledge of the guest. Spreading the knowledge that the guests have to our community, and I would greatly appreciate that, you guys. So help us beat YouTube's algorithm, and you can do that by sharing this video, liking this video. To all our junkies out there,
Stay fly and don't drink basic hard seltzers.